My name is Connie, and this is my heart attack story. I am 66 years old and live in South Louisiana. The name of this video is It Was Not Indigestion, It Was a Heart Attack. I apologize for reading this from paper, but I've had to restart too many times trying to do it from memory. Here we go. A year and a half ago, I started getting a pain in the right side of my chest next to where my esophagus is. It was like a spasm when I would be swallowing food or pills sometimes. I'd also get hiccups. I mentioned it to my doctor and said that it felt like I had developed an ulcer in my esophagus, and he kindly ordered a barium swallow study. A radiologist watched through an x-ray while I swallowed barium. That doctor said he didn't see an ulcer, but he did see an esophageal spasm. I didn't want to pursue it any further because I didn't want any invasive procedures like an endoscopy. During that time, my husband and I had purchased an older home and were having it renovated, which took about a year. It was a fun project, and because we had a great contractor, he made it easy and pleasant. We moved into the home on July 16th, and on the 1-week anniversary of moving in, my poor husband had a heart attack, but was saved by a great cardiologist who put in a stent. He had a blockage in his left anterior descending artery, also called the LAD, and also referred to as the widowmaker, because it is often fatal to have a blockage in that artery. Fortunately, our new home is 5 minutes from the emergency room at the hospital, and we made it there in perfect time. His symptoms were a pain in his neck and down his left arm with sweating and mild nausea. He did not have the crushing heavy pain that many people describe. The doctor said his plaque had ruptured, and we arrived in perfect time. He did not end up with heart damage, and his recovery has been excellent. They went through his wrist for the angiogram and the stent, which was really nice. During the last year, my esophageal spasm turned into burning pain across my chest, which felt very much like acid indigestion. The pain also traveled down both of my arms and into my hands, but from what I read, that is not uncommon with acid reflux to have pain down the arms. Those were the only symptoms I had, but they kept coming more and more often, and the burning was getting worse. 2 weeks ago, on a Sunday, the pain started, and no matter how many Tums I took or how much Mylanta I drank or Prilosec I took, the pain would not lessen or stop. I mentioned to my primary care doctor that I was having that burning pain, and he said, "I don't think it's reflux, I think it's cardiac, and I think you should go to the emergency room." I didn't believe this because I had no other heart symptoms. But I did need relief from the pain, so my husband and I went to a local urgent care clinic, and they said, "We think it's cardiac and you should go to the ER." They did no tests, but just surmised it due to the pain that was in my chest and arms. They asked us to promise that we'd go to the ER, which we did. At the ER, they ran an EKG, which showed no abnormalities, but my blood pressure was very high at 258 over 140, which did upset everyone there. They immediately ran a blood test for my troponin level. Then a couple of hours into the visit, they ran another. The first one was very high, which they said indicated that I was having a heart attack, and then the second one was double high, which was more of an indication that my heart was in distress. I ended up getting an angiogram and a stent in my circumflex artery, which unfortunately didn't end up with any lasting heart damage. The reason for this video is to share this experience. They say that women get heart attacks very differently than men, and I would totally agree with that. My only real symptoms were feelings of indigestion and pain that wouldn't go away. They called my heart attack a non-STEMI, which means that there were no abnormalities recorded on the EKG in the ST waves. So if I would have just had an EKG without the troponin test, we wouldn't have known. I have a history of high blood pressure, which was not helped very much by the blood pressure meds. I know this because I've tried them all. I also have high blood sugar, which I feel is culprit behind the plaque in my arteries. I am trying to work on that and reverse the insulin resistance. It was not a pleasant experience to have the heart attack and the stent, but it was fascinating. All I ask of the folks who view this video is to consider that it might really be a heart attack and not just indigestion. The blood enzymes seem to be the most accurate indicator of heart attack.